Oh, I was still muted? Unmuted. Okay. And now it's not highlighted. So it acts like I'm unmuted.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Estadio FC de Managua on a overcast, humid Saturday night where this evening a champion will be crowned as part of Liga Primera and the Clausura Tournament Championship. You just heard the national anthem of Nicaragua wrapping up. We're here in the nation's capital as we take a look at our officials and get ready for the second leg of this two-legged championship affair. Ben Wilson alongside James Poovey. A good look at Itzar Sandoval, our lead official tonight. So happy to have you along. And James, this is the second leg. We saw both teams last weekend in the northern part of Nicaragua. Real Estelí, the visitors. Managua, the hosts. You see the Blue Lions in the blue and yellow, while Estelí, the visitors, in the white and red. And James, a 1-1 draw in our first leg. There is no away goal rule in effect because of the lack of fans as part of the coronavirus pandemic. So that means, James, somebody has to win this tie tonight to go home the champion, and that means we could be in for a fantastic tie.
It's going to be a great game tonight, Ben. So glad to be joining you here this evening, live online here during the broadcast. Looking at the Managua lineup there, Erlen Mendez, Rigoberto Fuentes, Mario Alvarez, Sandro Coutinho, Westner de Trinidad, Jeremy Quaresma, Cristiano Fernandez, Cristian Quinto, Pedro Espinoza, Aguiar Baez, and Pablo Gallego rounding up the lineup there for Managua. It's going to be a great contest. You mentioned the 1-1 draw in the first leg last Saturday night, and no observance of that road goal advantage in this one. So we're going to be in for a dandy here tonight, and we could be playing this one all night long, Ben, because someone is going to walk away a champion here tonight.
And this is the fourth straight meeting in the championship match. If you're new to Liga Primera, as you get a look at the Estelí lineup, it is a two-part season, the Apertura in the fall, the Clausura in the spring, and that's what we're in right now, the Clausura Championship Final, as Estelí makes 3 changes from the 1-1 draw at the Estadio Independencia last Saturday. We're about 2.5 hours south of there as you get a look, scrolling through the team, a couple of notes on the starters for Estelí, and more importantly, James, as we're underway, those who are not in the lineup tonight. Henry Maradiaga, the #1 goalie throughout the season for Estelí. He had served a 4-game suspension for arguing with an official after their derby match against Dirian a few weeks ago. He was cleared. He's off of his suspension now, but not active tonight. So the youngster and the backup Denver Fox starts for the 5th straight match as we are underway. The visitors, again in the white and red, hosts of Managua, the Blue Lions in the blue and yellow, against El Tren del Norte, the Train of the North, on a slightly windy, overcast, and humid night in the nation's capital. Here's some fireworks going off from outside the stadium. We'll see if we get some fireworks tonight with our first shot coming on target. Slightly deflected, but that easily falls to Erik Mendoza, the 31-year-old in goal for Managua.
Mendez did a great job last week and last Saturday night's game for the Blue Lions, and we talked earlier a little bit about Denver Fox starting at goal tonight for Maradiaga, who is back in the lineup but not starting. We talked last week, Ben, during the game as to whether you would pull Denver Fox with that hot hand, if you will, in goal. He's had a great couple of games over the last week or two, or would you go ahead and insert Maradiaga, who's coming in kind of cold and not really ready to go or in game shape, being out for the last couple of weeks? And indeed, Real Estelí does stay with Denver Fox tonight in goal, who's done a great job for them over the past couple of games.
And that was a big decision made by first-year manager Holver Flores for Estelí, who have already won this season. They were the champions in the Apertura, the fall tournament. They beat Managua 2-1 after extra time. It was a Ricardo Rivas 98th minute goal in the second leg in Estelí. So it's Managua, the Blue Lions, looking for some revenge tonight. It would be just their second ever championship, a fairly new club, one that's only been in the top flight of Nicaragua for about a decade, whereas Estelí has had a lot of history, second all-time in Liga Primera, 13 titles. They look for their 14th tonight.
Real Estelí looking good tonight in the white tops, white shorts, and then Managua in their home look with the blue tops and yellow shorts, yellow socks as well tonight for Managua.
Even though it is an empty stand, you can hear some of the fireworks. The league knew this potentially could be an issue. They had put out a statement, again, reminding fans to stay away. They were quoted, you could translate this into English, James, as saying, "This time the distance will hold us together." Obviously, so much emotion at stake for finals like this, a champion being crowned. It is a huge deal in Nicaragua, especially for a club like Tren del Norte, who have had so much success, and an upcoming club in Managua, who are now part of a fourth straight final appearance. Two of those previous three have been won by Real Estelí, but given all that's at stake, and despite the positive outlook of limited coronavirus cases in the country, still some fans setting off fireworks outside. I'm sure that will continue throughout the night. But early on, it's been Estelí with the bulk of the possession, James, as they look to penetrate off of that 1-1 draw in the first leg.
Well, we can only hope that everyone is settled in at home safely tonight, wherever you may be watching from this evening. We understand that we have viewers worldwide. We're very excited about that, and we're glad you joined us here tonight. It should be a great match tonight, and if you're setting off some fireworks outside, hopefully you got us tuned on inside the house or maybe even outside, wherever you may be watching from tonight, and we look forward to a great evening of soccer.
We saw Taufik Guarch send the cross in, knotted out for a Estelí throw. So I mentioned three changes from the first leg for El Tren del Norte with Richard Rodriguez. He was a starter, now out due to yellow card accumulation. And it's one player for each team who is suspended tonight due to accumulation of yellow cards. Behind the play in the meantime, there is a Managua player down on the pitch, so we'll look to see who that is momentarily. But you have Rodriguez out for Estelí tonight. Jason Casco, who had been a main fixture of that back three, had worn the captain's armband most of the season for Estelí in a right back position, but he is out tonight after starting in the first leg, not even making the 18-man roster, while Brandon Ayertis, he is on the bench tonight after starting in the first leg. So a bit of a change for Holver Flores, the first-year manager for Estelí, while Emilio Alberto, in his third season, trying to lead Managua to, as I mentioned, their second ever title after finishing runners-up to Estelí in each of the last two tournaments. And now we do see Agenor Baez being helped off the field, the young 22-year-old from Somoto in Nicaragua, a town in the northwest part of the country, about an hour and 15 minutes northwest of Estelí. So we'll see if Baez can continue. It was pretty far, James, off the play initially, so didn't really get a good look, but some sort of collision with Baez, and so momentarily Managua down to 10 men.
Yeah, he appeared to be favoring his elbow there as the training staff was helping him off there, Ben. We've got a good look at it there momentarily, but we'll hope that he's okay. Didn't really see the play or what exactly happened on it, but something to do with his arm there, a little bit of an injury there for Baez.
You go back to last Saturday night, the first leg, and we really didn't see much of anything, James, the first 45 minutes. It was the second half where things turned up a couple levels, and Estelí found the opening goal thanks to Marlon Lopez, who is in the lineup tonight. He and Henry Garcia, the two former Managua players. So Lopez scored a fantastic goal in the 64th minute, but Pablo Gallego followed it up with the equalizer in the 69th. And so Gallego, himself a former Real Estelí man, one of four members of El Tren del Norte in the past. And so that gives you a little extra boost tonight, as this ball looked for Harold Medina, but whiffed on that attempt and now scuffed not close toward the goal mouth, as Estelí looks to build up. And you see, James, as I'm mentioning, with multiple players on both teams who have played for each side, just gives a little bit extra to an already momentous affair with the title on the line.
Everything on the line tonight, Ben. They've got to let it all hang out, leave it all on the pitch here this evening, and both teams are going to play hard. They know what's at stake. They can see it right there on the field. I believe it's on display for them the entire time, and they're ready to go, let me tell you what. And don't forget about the semifinal heroics of one Oscar Acevedo as well. He had the lone goal in the semifinal for Real Estelí.
And Acevedo, he starts tonight in place of the former starter at either the center back, right back spots. Jason Casco, the 30-year-old, had been the captain most of the season. Manuel Rosas, the longest tenured member of El Tren del Norte, will occupy that armband tonight as the captain. But Acevedo scored the lone goal in the semifinal 1-0 aggregate win for Estelí against their rivals Dirian Hen. So he starts tonight, while Managua coming off a 4-2 aggregate win in the semis. All the goals were scored in the second leg against their big rivals, Walter Ferretti, with whom they share this stadium, the Estadio Olimpico de Managua. Kind of an oddity, James, with the way the schedule worked out since April 11th. So basically, over the last month, Managua have played every match except one in this stadium, due to the fact that they share it with Walter Ferretti, and they've met Ferretti 3 different times, as this shot parried away from distance, and then Medina sends it well over the bar.
Great job in goal that time there for Erik Mendoza, the 31-year-old from native of Managua. Doing a great job in there. We'll get another look at it here, possibly. But we were talking about Estadio Olimpico there, Ben, and we really feel like we're missing out tonight with the fans not being a capacity in that stadium, 72,698. So you can imagine the raucousness of the crowd tonight if they were able to be in attendance there. So we can only imagine that a lot of you are tuned in tonight, and we hope you're enjoying the broadcast, and this should be a great game.
Again, this is the second leg. These two teams 1-1 on aggregate after the first leg, but normally there's an away goal tiebreaker, and I think we will see now this first shot from Richard Rodriguez, the parry, from, I believe that was Taufik Guarch. Like I mentioned, Rodriguez out tonight for Estelí with yellow card accumulation. And Mendez, the parry, second attempt from Medina. But yeah, you're right, James, with the empty stadiums. It's been a fixture, though, of Liga Primera over the last 2 months. The only league in this part of the world that's been able to keep its season alive and play a championship tonight. A few other leagues scattered around the globe getting their season started within the past couple of weeks, but we are in Nicaragua, the only league that you see tonight able to finish its season on time. And they've actually moved up the end of the season a couple weeks in case of any sort of surge of coronavirus cases. So they've done all they can to keep play alive, and we'll see that come to fruition as our first yellow card is issued tonight. And it goes on Henry Garcia, the former Managua member who was actually loaned to the Blue Lions this past fall in the Apertura, where he featured heavily in Emilio Alberto's side. And we'll get another look at the yellow.
I dare say he didn't agree with the call. Player went down kind of hard there from Managua, but Henry Garcia had a few choice words for our officiating crew as well, but he wasn't buying any of it.
Oh, straight, not just in Liga Primera, but everywhere it seems. Garcia, who appeared in 21 matches in the Apertura for Managua and brought down former teammate Agenor Baez. But Baez, as you can see, back in after taking a knock earlier. And through 10 minutes, James appears to be a similar feeling outside process to what we saw in the first leg. No real clear-cut chances. And in fact, we really didn't see a clear-cut chance until early in the second half. That was just how dry an opening 45 it was last Saturday night in Estelí.
Yeah, both teams were feeling each other out. As you mentioned a moment ago, it's a bit of the same feeling here tonight. And they don't want to give up that first goal and have that mental advantage go to the other team. So they're kind of playing it a little bit cautious right now, but somebody will bust it open here very shortly.
Marel Alvarez slipped there a moment ago. Potential for Estelí to take advantage, but they regroup. Guarch looking for the youngster Medina. Fabrizio Tavano back and forth with Henry Garcia, and Tavano's cross attempt headed out. Clear for a corner, first of the night for Estelí, as Fabrizio Tavano, who started the second leg of the semifinal against Dirian, and did not play in the first leg, but he is back in the starting lineup tonight. And he'll join the queue in the goal mouth with Henry Garcia, the 28-year-old, looking to send it in.
You mentioned Fabrizio Tavano in his first year with the club for Real Estelí, joining fellow player from Mexico, Taufik Guarch, out of Guadalajara. So two players paying dividends right away for Real Estelí out of Mexico.
And on that corner attempt, easily taken by Mendez. Estelí players not happy as Mendez came out to take the goal kick, and we'll see what happened. It was knocked down right on the edge there of where the keeper can come out. Estelí saying, look, he was on the edge of the box. He had every right to be in that space, but officials ruled a foul that they were encroaching on him, and they let Mendez retake the kick.
Yeah, that one a little too close to call there. It looked like it hit him in the back of the ankle as he was just outside the box, but hard to tell what exact vantage point the official had in that scenario.
Obviously for that, as long as the keeper doesn't touch it with his hand outside the box, he's okay. So that wouldn't really have been a handball issue, just more of kind of the unwritten rule of letting the keeper have enough space to take that goal kick. And you'd think Mendez will have plenty of room here after he scoops up the loose ball. But Estelí, who, despite having more of a championship acumen, James, they're probably considered a slight underdog coming in tonight after Managua drew in the first leg in their away match, now coming home. And the Blue Lions have been fantastic at home this year, but Estelí, they've looked like the brighter side early.
Yeah, Estelí seems to be pushing the pace. They've spent a lot more time on the Managua pitch so far here in the first half of this one. The final, it's all on the line right now, and they got to get some more shots on goal, and Real Estelí so far winning that match.
Jorge Betancourt arguing for a corner. We'll see if he's justified with that shot going wide of the bar. Even though Estelí does not get a corner, they still win possession back, with Josue Quijano looking to send in a cross. And there is the man who scored in the first leg, Pablo Gallego, number 9 in the blue and yellow jersey, but he has it taken away by Christian Gutierrez. All Estelí right now. As a man goes down in the box, that's Guarch, and we'll see the official stop play.
Oh, Guarch appears to be, oh goodness.
Guarch will need a lot of attention here. You can see the Managua players immediately calling for the trainers as Guarch took some sort of cut to the side of his head and has blood spilling out everywhere onto the pitch.
Get another look at it here. Guarch elevating. It looks like they did collide. They collided heads there, Ben, right at the edge of the box. We'll hope Taufik Guarch is okay here momentarily. The training staff out there immediately to tend to him.
Yeah, scary scene in the 16th minute. Taufik Guarch leading scorer for Estelí in the Clausura season, the 28-year-old from Guadalajara, after a pretty obvious, like you saw, James, as you mentioned, head-to-head contact. We'll get one more look.
Both players going right at the ball. Gutierrez elevating, trying to put something into it, and at the same time, almost simultaneously colliding heads with his opponent.
I didn't get a clean look at the defender for Managua. There is a look at Oliver Flores, youngest manager in the history of Liga Primera, just 22 years old. I think he's asking for some sort of foul on that play, although when you look at it, one of those 50-50 balls, both players going
sure.
Of course, as a manager, you see your player come up with a big cut on his head, and you probably are in the right to ask that question. There is the look, by the way, of Emilio Alberto, third year.
And you have to imagine that
Managua.
Alberto's concerned about his player as well, because he took a shot there as well, Ben.
So a really lengthy stoppage we'll see in this first half. Question will be, how much stoppage time do we get? And again, tonight, any sort of draw will lead us into a 30-minute extra time, which could be followed up by penalties if we're still deadlocked. So I think most people's assumption coming into the first leg was that we'd follow the traditional away goal rule. And so when Managua scored last Saturday, it felt like a pretty big moment as far as the overall tie was concerned. Not to take anything away from it, but certainly the fact that the away goal now doesn't mean as much, and Managua still needs to win the tie to take the championship and the trophy home. And it does diminish just ever so slightly what they did last Saturday, given that a 0-0 draw under the old away goal rule would have been enough. Now it will have to be a full win, 1-0, 2-1, any sort of victory tonight for either team to get the championship. And there's a look at the bandaging you see for Taufik Gutierrez.
Gutierrez took quite a shot on that one there. Good that the training staff's got him up on his feet. They got him bandaged up there, and we'll see if he's able to return to the lineup. And we also got to look at Agenor Baez there as well. He was coming back on after that injury to his elbow. Looked like it was wrapped up there as well by the training staff.
So about a 3-minute delay after the head-to-head collision right at the edge of the box. Taufik Gutierrez goes down. You see all the blood.
Wow.
And the bandaging. It looks like you see Marlon Lopez already into the game. Actually, that's Brandon Ayertis, who looks to be readying himself to enter, and that would make sense with a pretty vicious head injury in the first half. Gutierrez, he in his bloodstained jersey, walks past manager Oliver Flores, and it looks like we'll be seeing 20-year-old Ayertis, who has been the best goal scorer throughout the combined season for Estelí, coming in shortly.
Ayertis picking up a red card, if you remember, a couple of matches ago when these two teams faced off.
And one of three this season. And so it is Brandon Ayertis for Taufik Gutierrez, our first substitution of the night. Not one that Estelí wanted to make, but just a freak play on the edge of the box, a head-to-head collision resulting in a bloodied Taufik Gutierrez. So that's how the Mexican national has his 2020 Clausura season come to an end. I think we might see somebody on the Estelí bench get a yellow card for some sort of comment they made toward someone on the touchline. It looks to be an assistant coach for Estelí, who will go into our officials book.
Looks like he might be heading to the shower, so we'll have to check on that a little bit later. But they were definitely upset. They still are upset about that play and wanted some kind of call or some kind of remediation there on that one.
No foul called on the collision. It ends up with Gutierrez out of the match. Low ball sent right toward Mendez, and he's able to collect. But through the first 20 minutes, of course, we just had about a 4-minute stoppage. But Estelí, they've been the team on the front foot, the visitors tonight in this second leg. Of course, with no away goal tiebreaker in effect because of the lack of fans due to the coronavirus pandemic, fans being told not to go anywhere near the stadiums for these past few weeks in the season, it means that it would be essentially reset the scoreline. Ayertis looks to cross. That one's poked away by Marel Alvarez. And Managua trying to start a counter. Foul taken by Josue Quijano to prevent that. And it's Pedro Espinoza who hits the deck.
Espinoza go down on that one. We get another look at it right here. Looked like he got it in the leg there, but it looks like it was just kind of incidental contact there overall, Ben.
Espinoza, you could probably argue somewhat of a surprise choice in the starting 11 for Emilio Alberto. Both he and Jeremy Quaresma have not seen a whole lot of time on the overall season, but Alberto did have to make one change. I mentioned how Richard Rodriguez, he is out due to yellow card accumulation with that one-match suspension tonight for Estelí. On the Managua side, it's Nayum Peralta who featured heavily. He was a big factor in that first leg last Saturday in Estelí. He picked up a yellow card, though, and is also out tonight. So no Nayum Peralta for Managua, who had scored 8 goals in the combined Apertura and Clausura seasons. That's quite a bit of offense that they're going to be missing for Managua tonight with the absence of Nayum Peralta. You look at it, though, the Blue Lions, best offensive team in the league, 70 goals on aggregate combined between the two seasons, led by the 2 leading goal scorers in Liga Primera. Pablo Gallego, again, he scored last Saturday. He's now scored, by the way, 5 goals in his last 9 matches. 17 goals to lead all scorers in the league, with Carlos Felix on the bench tonight, right behind him with 16, and then the captain, Cristiano Fernandez, with 14 goals. So they've spread out too. It hasn't been just one source for Managua.
Yeah, Managua able to spread the wealth. You mentioned the best offensive team in the league, and they're facing off tonight against the best defensive team in the league in Real Estelí, the train from the north.
Chip towards Quijano, finds an open man right in the middle, and somehow saved by Mendez just wide. It fell to Brandon Ayertis. Can't believe he didn't find the back of the net, but a beautiful save by Mendez.
An excellent job there by Early Mendez. We'll get a look at here right in the front of the net. Mendez has to bend back to his right. Ayertis had a good look at it right there, but just couldn't get it past Mendez. What a great job there in goal for Managua.
Ayertis just in the right place at the right time. Now it's still trying to keep it alive. And that one sent toward goal. And again, just sent wide. Wow, 2 great saves by Mendez on back-to-back sequences. And another corner to show for Estelí, but close to opening the scoring on 2 separate occasions. And there's the deflection right at the end for Mendez. Another shot from Ayertis.
Ayertis with 2 hot ones in a row there, but once again, Early Mendez, the 31-year-old native of Managua, just ice cold, ice water in his veins right there that time for Managua.
Well, I was mentioning Managua, they're known for their offense, but Mendez has come up big at times this season. Made a huge save in the semifinals with the match tied 2-2 in the second leg on aggregate. The team would go on to win 4-2, of course, and advance to the final. Made a nice save on Ayertis in the first leg, and so Brandon Ayertis, James, he has to be thinking, what do I have to do to score? It's now 3 good looks he's had against Mendez and has been denied on all 3 occasions.
Yeah, it's got to be a taxing mental fact for him not to be able to score, but Mendez just doing a great job in goal for the Blue Lions tonight, and has done all throughout the tournament.
Mendez, you see him right there. He's been the starting keeper, the number 1 for the Blue Lions just about the whole season. In 2019, the Apertura into the 2020 Clausura. Managua, though, as a team, they've been much better in the spring. They finished 4th out of the 10 teams in the fall, but did advance to the final and ended up being the top team in this spring season. Another chance, though, for Estelí to push forward. Betancourt looking for some space on the far wing.
Once again, Estelí pushing the pace here. They're keeping it on the Managua end of the pitch.
Tavano, those cross took a big deflection and does fall right to Mendez. So I mentioned how Managua, with their fantastic spring season where they won the league by a pretty good margin, they climbed up the overall table. They do keep an aggregate table as well, and they won the league this season. 84 points from their 36 matches, and they and Estelí will be the two Liga Primera representatives in the CONCACAF League next season, where they'll have a chance to qualify for the CONCACAF Champions League. Another collision, though, this one just outside the box. Looked like a slightly heavy touch from Fabrizio Tavano. We'll get another look there. And barrels right in to the right back, Cristian Quinto.
Quinto took it on that one, the 19-year-old from Nicaragua. Both players shaking up a little bit, but Quinto now up on his feet. Another just example of hard play right there, Ben.
Yeah, you're right. And Quinto was the one who, despite being more of a defensive player, his cross in the 69th minute off somewhat of a counterattack was what led to that Pablo Gallego goal. And there was a little bit of controversy surrounding it. For those of you who tuned in last Saturday, you'll remember it was a cross from Quinto that was punched straight up into the air by Estelí keeper Denver Fox, but Nayum Peralta had challenged for the initial ball. Looked upon replay like Peralta might have possibly an early sub coming for Managua momentarily after the first corner of the night for the Blue Lions amounts to nothing with a push in the box and a foul called. So kind of surprising to potentially see an early sub for Managua. Of course, could be injury related. We've seen already Taufik Ward, she had to go out. Injury in the 15th minute on a head-to-head collision in the box. It saw him spilling blood all over the pitch at the Estadio Olimpico. So that's one player's end to leave for Estelí. Will we see another for Managua have to leave? That's the question we're looking at. James saw some action down on the touchline, and you see Erik Mendoza, who could be entering shortly off the bench.
Yeah, both those incidents that you mentioned have been quite a bit of contact on both of them. A lot of each of those players took quite a shot, and so I'm not surprised that there could be some early substitutions, maybe for both clubs here before it's all said and done.
Coming up on our half-hour mark, Estelí, the visitors, they've been on the ball just about the whole evening, although that's a cheap giveaway right to the captain, Brazilian Cristiano Fernandez, but given away just as easily. And some sloppy play in the middle of the park as Estelí look to push forward. Harold Medina, great ball through, finds Brandon Ayerdes on the edge of the box. Ayerdes, his ball looking far post for Betancourt, but a great job by the veteran Mendez, snuffed that out and leaps to haul it in.
Can't help but think that Ayerdes would love to have that one back. If he'd had about a step or two shorter, he might have had a little bit of a better angle on the shot for that one.
And Ayerdes, I mentioned Taufik Guarch, the injury. Ayerdes, the first sub off the bench tonight. He's already made a big impact in his 15 minutes. And now we'll see Aguilar Baez. He's been in the middle of a couple hard challenges. Had to leave the pitch momentarily before coming back in. And Emilio Alberto clearly sensing that his 22-year-old is unable to continue. So Baez head down in frustration. You can't blame him. Championship match and a huge moment for him, but you have to do what's right, especially when you're not at 100%. So he exits, the 27-year-old Erik Mendoza, who has appeared in more games in that Blue Lion shirt than anybody on the active roster. And he checks in. So pretty rarely you see this, 2 first-half subs. But that's what we've got so far in the second leg, still tied 1-1 on aggregate.
Yeah, it's a tough decision for head coach Emilio Alberto. I mean, obviously he doesn't want to pull his player out in the final match, but if he's not taking away at 100% and firing on all cylinders, sometimes the coach doesn't have a choice, especially in a final of this magnitude, and he's got to make the most of every minute and every second of this game.
So we sit at 1-1 aggregate. Again, no away goals. That ruling taken away, and we presume because of no fans being allowed as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. So this tie is all knotted up at 1-1 for the championship of our 2020 Clausura. Again, good interplay for Estelí. Ball finding Gutierrez. Back out to Tavano. Looks for the speedster Garcia. Nice turn into the box, but just a slightly heavy touch able to keep it in play as Garcia runs out of space, and it's a goal kick for Managua.
So far here in the first half, Ben, Real Estelí just doing a much better job moving the ball around much more efficiently than Managua so far.
And even though we don't have any fans tonight, we've talked about this, James, in the past, still always that familiarity factor for these home teams, still getting to play in the facility, not having to make the physical trip out of town. Wonder how that'll impact things tonight, but so far it's been the visitors who've looked much better. And they do have experience playing well in this venue, where Managua, by far the best team at home throughout the Clausura, 9 wins and just 1 draw so far in their 10 matches, but the only team they drew was the visitors tonight, Estelí. It was a 1-1 draw back on April the 1st at the Estadio Olimpico. As there's a crunching challenge and a yellow card produced. Marel Alvarez getting right in the face of our lead official. Has to be careful.
That's how you get tossed out of the game right there. You got to be respectful of the officiating crew. Marel Alvarez on that one there, a little slide tackle, and the player for Real Estelí went airborne quickly, and he is still on the pitch. So
Garcia took a yellow earlier in the first half for Estelí. Now Alvarez into the book. One of those things too, James, you can be upset if you're a player if you feel like you got the ball first, but so many times it's the intent that matters, and for that matter the follow-through, because it did look like on the replay that Alvarez, he might have barely gotten to that ball first, but extremely aggressive on his follow-through, and that a lot of times is a dangerous play when you have your studs up like that.
Yeah, you got to be careful when you go in low, especially on something like that around the knee or ankle area. You can cause a serious injury, even though you are trying to play hard. Sometimes you get faulted for that, but the safety has to be paramount.
We saw this happen earlier where Estelí had an assistant get a yellow card. Now we're seeing a member of the Managua bench get summoned. I can't tell who that is. It does look like a player, though, and pretty obvious it was for some tripping. And it's Carlos Felix, who scored 16 goals this season between the Apertura and Clausura. So Felix has accomplished the rare feat of getting booked despite not even being in the game. Don't see that every day.
Well, credit to the officiating crew as well here tonight for making a statement and trying to keep this game under control. It is a final, a lot of emotions tonight. Everybody's on edge. They want to do as much as they can for their team and try to come out of here with a victory.
Off the free kick, Tavano, not his best effort trying to curl it, but gets it all wrong, and an easy goal kick for Mendez. So yeah, to update things now, as far as the cards are concerned, James, that's 4 yellows. Only 2 of them have been issued to players actually on the pitch. 1 for each team.
A rare sight.
You have 1 bench player for each team who's been carded. It was an assistant for Estelí, and then Carlos Felix on the bench for Managua.
and a credit to our camera crew as well there on site tonight in Managua with those pictures. I mean, we were right there on the bench as it all unfolded. Fantastic job.
Somewhat difficult conditions tonight. Managua a little bit further south than Real Estelí, as Gutierrez looks to get this ball under his feet. Can't quite square it though, and that's well over the bar, high and wide. But you think about maybe that factor, James, and considering we've played so many matches in such a short time span, as the league has tried to ramp up the frequency of the fixtures just to get the season in, and as a result you combine that with a much warmer climate. I hesitate to say much warmer, but it historically has been a little bit warmer on average in Managua than Estelí in the northern part of the country. And tonight, no exception, a hot and humid evening, even though it is overcast.
Yeah, 85 degrees and overcast tonight, 66% humidity. You saw a shot there a moment ago of Pablo Gallego just chugging a whole bunch of water, trying not to take in too much and get overhydrated or get sick out there on the pitch. But definitely got to keep hydrated tonight. And 11 miles an hour on the wind gauge. So the weather and the humidity especially can definitely be a factor tonight as we progress into the second half.
And my broadcast partner, part-time meteorologist James Poovey, doing a great job monitoring the conditions as Jorge Betancourt presses forward. But this low ball easily snuffed out, and Managua gets the clear.
We'll see if we can get you a barometric pressure.
Sounds good.
Tonight
yeah,
as well, and before the night's all over.
I'm on pins and needles, waiting for that. I'm sure as the rest of our audience is. Fabrizio Tavano, he's featured heavily in this first half for Estelí, sending it out wide for Josue Quijano. You see Marlon Lopez, he hit a firecracker in the first leg. Meanwhile, teammate Harold Medina tried a shot from about a similar range from where Lopez's ball went into the first leg, but could not get behind that initial wave of Managua defenders. And it's blocked out.
Managua doing a nice job that time.
Betancourt on that right side looks to send it in for Gutierrez, nearly falls for Medina, and he's called for a foul, crashing in the middle of the box. And a blue line player down as a result. Another look at the cross from Betancourt.
Right in front there, just incidental contact. Two players playing hard once again in front of the net there. And Early Mendez once again in goal, ready for whatever comes his way.
Second time, though, that Cristian Quinto has taken a big hit, victim of a Estelí foul. As it was kind of on further review, James, a nifty little back heel by Gutierrez. Knew he wasn't in great position to get a clean look, so he just tapped it back. Gave the youngster Medina, the 18-year-old, a chance, but I guess a little overzealous as he pushes in to Quinto and called for the foul. Taken away this time by Blue Lines and just quickly knocked away. Pedro Espinoza can't maintain possession.
Hey, there's Denver Fox. We haven't said his name a whole lot tonight as we keep mentioning Estelí pushing the pace once again, and Managua not spending a whole lot of time so far on the Estelí end of the pitch this evening.
You're right, a quiet night for Denver Fox, his fifth straight start, but it's been good. 2 wins, 2 draws, a pair of clean sheets for the 22-year-old who made his national team debut earlier in 2020. As we approach the 40-minute mark, can Over Flores and Estelí win a second straight championship? They already won the Apertura right after Flores was put in charge, or will it be that man, Emilio Alberto, who has led Managua to the current heights they're at, even wears the face paint. He's part cheerleader, part manager.
I was going to say, fantastic. I love it. We got to figure out who did that.
The Managua club, only formed in 2006. The year they were formed was a year that Estelí won one of its 8 straight championships. They won those 8 straight titles between 2006 and 2014. So while Estelí was in a period of dynastic form, it was Managua who were the minnows, so to speak, quickly, though, developing into a big club. Tavano, though, with an easy shot from distance, handled on a hop by Mendez.
And how about the success for Managua as a club overall? You mentioned only 13 or 14 years of existence overall, but a tremendous amount of success in that short time span.
They reached the semifinals for 7 of the first 8 tournaments once they reached the top flight in 2010. Had a drought over the next few years, but that's when Emilio Alberto really became a big part of the club, now in his 3rd stint.
And you mentioned, Ben, the familiarity with these clubs and each other. Both these, a lot of these players have played on each one of these ball clubs, so they're familiar with the facilities and the coaches and a lot of the surroundings there as well. So it's an interesting match here tonight.
This stadium home as well to Walter Ferretti, another team in Liga Primera who fell to Managua in the Managua Derby in the semifinal round. So yeah, you're right, James. If you're Estelí, you see this stadium, even if you're a player who hasn't spent any time with the Blue Lions, you come to the stadium twice as often as you normally would. Two players for Estelí, El Tren del Norte, former members of Managua. As this ball sent out of play, throw in for the Train of the North. It's Josue Quijano looking to send it in. A nice little move by Ayertis to free up some space. Tavano quickly closed in, back out to Quijano. This ball right across the face of goal. Not sure if it took a deflection at all. It appeared to have taken just a slight touch, and that keeps possession alive to Estelí. Garcia setting up a throw.
Once again, Estelí doing a great job moving the ball around the perimeter of the goal box and keeping it deep in Managua territory.
You can tell Estelí, they know they've been on the front foot most of the half, trying to push for a breakthrough goal before we hit halftime. Look at Yon Mosquera on the bench of Estelí. Each team having to go into the bench in this first half. Taufik Guarch injured in the 15th minute. Agenor Baez was also injured, tried to continue, and eventually had to come off on 30 minutes.
What a kick there from early Mendez.
One of those two former Blue Lions, Henry Garcia, edge of the box, trying to find Ayertis, but a poor first touch ends up allowing Cristiano Fernandez, the captain for Managua, to cut in and take the ball away. But we have not seen much of Fernandez tonight. The 34-year-old who has scored 14 goals this year. For that matter, James, not much of Fernandez or Pablo Gallego, who have combined for 31 goals this season.
It's funny how in sometimes semifinal, especially final matches, there'll be kind of an unsung hero, but then it'll rise up, someone that you might not expect to put one in the back of the net or make a difference in a ball game, and we could definitely be in that type of situation here tonight.
That's what fans of Estelí will be looking for, because it's the formula they've gone with. Semifinal round, it was Oscar Acevedo, who had only scored 1 career goal and none this season, when he had a wonder strike, 74th minute in that first leg at Dirian Hen, who would end up being the only goal of the tie in that semifinal. Then in the first leg, you saw Marlon Lopez in the 64th minute. Similar strike, just one of those balls you get right maybe 1 out of every 25 times, and Lopez caught it perfectly for the goal. We'll see who finds the breakthrough first in a 1-1 aggregate tie. No goals yet tonight.
Got to imagine we're going to have, oh, there it is, 2 more minutes. I was going to say maybe 3 or 4 minutes. I'm surprised it's only 2.
I'm with you. We saw that big injury to Taufik Guarch. He was down on the pitch, took at least 3-4 minutes to bandage him up. He was spilling a lot of blood on the pitch and him carted off, but just the 2 first half stoppage time minutes in an opening 45 dominated by Estelí. They've had the only clear-cut chances tonight, but Erik Mendoza has made 2 fantastic saves. Beautiful. Have to make another one as we approach halftime. Not for now, though, as this ball runs out of play.
Yeah, Erik Mendoza is doing a great job up here this evening of keeping all the fireworks so far in the first half, at least outside the stadium, Ben.
And those 2 chances were from the substitute. Taufik Guarch came off injured. Brandon Ayertis replaced him, and immediately, within the first 10 minutes of him being on the pitch, 2 shots that easily could have gone in, saved by the 31-year-old from Managua in Mendoza.
Had to wake Denver Fox up again down there.
He really has not seen much action his way. There was a singular corner from Managua about 15 minutes ago, but was quickly snuffed out due to a foul on that ensuing corner. And that's really been it for the Blue Lions. You'd think Emilio Alberto has to be disappointed in that, playing on the home pitch tonight after how brightly they looked in the second half of the first leg in Estelí.
Yeah, they seem to be able to hit the switch last Saturday night in Estelí and get it going in the second half. They're going to have to hopefully do the same thing here if they want to get on this Real Estelí team, because right now they are dominant here in the first half.
And we'll see the first half right there come to an end as the whistle blows. A couple of glorious opportunities for El Tren del Norte and Brandon Ayertis. But after the first 45, we remain without a goal. Still 1-1 on aggregate in the second leg of our Clausura Championship final between Estelí and Managua. Estelí pretty clearly the better side in the first half, but still no goals so far. So we'll step aside. Encourage you to stick with us. We'll be back for our second half right after this. Again, at the break, it is Estelí 0 and Managua 0.
Herbert, está quebrada la base. Ya se quebró. ¿Quebró la base? Sí, hay que quitarla. Sí. Porque dale, soltarla, amor. Sí, ya está quebrada, está quebrada.
Welcome back inside the Estadio Olímpico de Managua, where we are scoreless through the first 45, getting set For the second half, in this second leg, our 2020 Clausura Championship as part of Liga Primera in Nicaragua. Ben Wilson back alongside James Poovey. A first half without a goal. James Butt, Real Estelí, they looked clearly like the side in better form. They had a number of great chances, but were unable to capitalize, and still we stay not up 0-0 with a 1-1 aggregate scoreline carried over from last Saturday night.
Real Estelí looking eerily similar to last Saturday's first half, but they were definitely the aggressor in half number one here tonight, and we'll see if they can continue that into the second half and see if someone can break through and put some points on the board.
So we're underway in the second 45. A champion will be crowned tonight. It might not necessarily be in the next 45. If we're still tied, we would go to extra time and then potentially penalties tonight. But it's the visitors Estelí who get us started in the white and red jerseys. The Train of the North, El Tren del Norte, against the hosts Managua. The Blue Lions, Los Leones Azules, in the blue and yellow. And right away a foul called on the far side. We saw a couple injuries in the first half. One first half sub for each team and one yellow card in the first half for each, as Taufi Guarch had to leave with an injury. Brandon Ayertis replaced him, while Henry Garcia saw yellow for Estelí. Meanwhile, on the Managua side, injury to Aguilar Baez saw Erik Mendoza an early entrance, with Marel Alvarez picking up a yellow card. Should also mention Carlos Felix managed to pick up a yellow card from Managua despite sitting on the bench for the Blue Lions. That official not happy with his displeasure at one of the calls on a foul. So that gives you kind of an updated picture. Again, it was a 1-1 draw last Saturday in Estelí, but no away goals rule in effect. That is usually the case, but without any fans being played as the country tries to do its part in the fight against coronavirus. No fans allowed to watch over the past couple months now. As we see another foul call, this again going against Managua and its captain, Cristiano Fernandez, giving Arab Medina and Estelí a free kick in a very dangerous spot. Not even 2 minutes into our second half, and James, the trend continues from that first half where Estelí had basically all the possession and all of the good chances.
Well, once again, Ben, here in the second half, we reside on the Managua end of the pitch, and Real Estelí pushing the pace, and they're going to try to fire away once again at the net, try to get something in the goal and get a point on the board here early in the second half so they can take an advantage, mentally at least, into the remainder of this ballgame.
The wall being set up for Managua as you get a look at Brandon Ayertis. You could argue it probably should be 1-0 Estelí. Ayertis was robbed twice in successive opportunities, basically within a minute span, by the keeper Erik Mendoza. This shot is able to get past Mendoza on the free kick, and this time Ayertis delivers the opening goal as Estelí takes the 1-0 lead, and they go up 2-1 on aggregate in the final.
An outstanding job that time. Manuel Rosas with the goal there for the Train of the North. We'll get another look at it here very shortly. The wall set up nicely there by Managua, but just too much mustard on that one. And somehow Real Estelí able to find back here early in the second half and get on the board. There it is, a long left-footed strike just past early Mendez. Another look at it here from the goal. He got some hands on it, but just couldn't force it over the top of the bar.
A beautiful strike just on the underside of the bar. And I was mistaken from our angle. I initially thought it would be Ayertis to take, but you're right, it's captain in Manuel Rosas. The normal captain, Jason Casco, out tonight, not playing. So Manuel Rosas, the 36-year-old who is the longest tenured member of El Tren del Norte, ends up taking it, and the left-footed 36-year-old who had scored just once this season. I think it's something you said earlier, James. The unsung heroes have been the players who have stepped up for Estelí, and that now continues. Kind of amazing that in the playoff run now for Estelí, the 3 goal scorers have been 3 players who had only scored once all season before their strikes. You go back to Oscar Acevedo in the semifinals, Marlon Lopez in the first leg last Saturday, and now Manuel Rosas tonight.
You never know who it's going to be, Ben. That's the magic of sports, the magic of championship sports, more specifically. Someone always has an opportunity to step up to the plate and make a play for their club, and that's exactly what's happening here in this Clausura 20 tournament.
So the goal comes in the 49th minute, and now Estelí pushing forward. Marlon Lopez finding Henry Garcia. Back to the middle of the box, in tight, and Betancourt just sends it wide. Unable to get it squared, Jorge Betancourt. This feels like danger time right now, James, for Managua, as it's been all Estelí. If this goes to 2-0 and 3-1 in aggregate, it would feel like game over.
Blood pressure for early Mendes has to be up after that last flurry of activity right there in front of the goal box. A couple of chances there for Real Estelí, but unable to pull the trigger. But early Mendes, here it is. Back to the middle. Couldn't quite get a full strike on that one there. Otherwise, that might have been goal number 2.
So 2-1 on aggregates, 1-0 to Estelí. Again, the 49th minute goal for Manuel Rosas. And I mentioned he's the longest tenured member of El Torrendo Norte in his 10th season. Has been there the entire decade, and just his 16th goal. So that gives you an idea how rare that has been for Rosas, normal left back in over Flores' side. This long ball has to be parried away. Another corner for Estelí, this time off the boot of the man half the age of Manuel Rosas, Harold Medina, just an 18-year-old. Skipping on the turf and forcing a diving save out of Erik Mendoza.
Another outstanding player for Real Estelí from Mexico, from Guadalajara, Mexico to be specific, the 36-year-old Manuel Rosas with the first goal of this final.
He is a Nicaraguan national, though. He is a naturalized player and has spent time with the men's national team of Nicaragua. In Manuel Rosas, this corner knotted down right in the middle of the box, sent as far out as the goal scorer for Real Estelí. Looking to push for a second. Medina almost got up on the end of that ball. You were mentioning it earlier, James. We saw in the first leg where Managua sprung to life basically right after the opening goal scored by Estelí and Marlon Lopez. Will we see something similar happen tonight?
Well, you can't help but think that Emilio Alberto was talking to his club at halftime, letting them know, kind of re-emphasizing the urgency of tonight's ball game and how they have to get something going. And with Real Estelí coming out there in the first part of the second half, as we see the nice save there once again for Erik Mendoza, coming out in the nice first part of the second half, attacking once again like they did most of the first half, attacking the goal and coming away with that goal in the 49th minute there for Manuel Rosas. It's going to be a tough hill to climb now for Managua.
Foul on Jorge Betancourt, and he sees right at midfield as he takes down Wesner de Trinidad, helps him up. And Betancourt, who has been just an Iron Man for Estelí, another one of those players born outside the country but naturalized as a member of Nicaragua's national team, initially from Medellin, Colombia, Betancourt, but he's featured heavily in the team, and now we will see our first sub of the second half coming for Managua. Again, they used one in the opening 45. This looks to be Carlos Felix, who picked up a yellow sitting on the bench in the first half. So you have the man already on a yellow getting ready to come in. The official will make the change with the captain Cristiano coming off. Cristiano Fernandez, as this long ball is fumbled by Denver Fox, but he's able to pick it up. Surprised at all with that move, James? You have the captain Fernandez, the Brazilian, who's really been the heart and soul of the team, responsible for 14 goals this season, but he will be out for the rest of the night. First of all, let's take a look at this shot. It's off the bar, rifled in from close range, and nearly 2-0 to Estelí. as El Trendo Norte look to strike quickly on the counterattack. They almost make Managua pay as we get another look.
Oh, off the top corner there from Estelí. They just continue attacking that. That one almost paying dividends once again. And we were once again nearly at 2-0 there. Estelí they've been taking charge of this ballgame the entire time, Ben, and they just continue to assert their will here in the second half.
So the sub now made official. I'll go back to that question I was setting up for you before we saw the counterattack. Surprised at all, Cristiano Fernandez enjoyed his best season by far of his career, the 34-year-old Brazilian. But he's now out, and the leader of Los Leones Azules will watch the rest of this match from the bench.
Yeah, it's a little bit surprising, but sometimes the coach has to make certain decisions, big-time games, and a tough spot there for Emilio Alberto.
Henry Garcia looks to cut inside, fastest man on the pitch. Certainly familiar, though, the Blue Lions are with his game as he spent this past fall on loan in Managua. Medina booting it out to Betancourt. Back to Medina, but he gets it all wrong. Estelí continues to push for a second. They continue to get close.
Medina exchanging pleasantries there in the front of the goal with a player from Managua, Morel Alvarez. And earlier today, Ben, it's been a great day of soccer here overall. Earlier today, both these quads in the under-20 division faced off, and Real Estelí came away with the win 4-2 on aggregate. So I got to imagine that a lot of those players from earlier today are watching this ball game here tonight and cheering on their Real Estelí brothers.
Yeah, so a chance to get the double, you can say, for Estelí, the U20s. They win. And Estelí, they held out a couple of their young players who had been fixtures in the men's main team. Edgar Castillo, a 17-year-old, he had featured heavily, but they sent him back down to the youth team just for the playoff run. Again, Fox bobbling this ball on what was a pretty lazy free kick sent in. And Estelí looks to counter. So Castillo held out for Estelí along with Widman Talavera. Those were two players who had pretty significant senior team experience, and you'd think, James, that probably was somewhat of a factor as the youth team, after a 2-2 draw in the first leg, able to win 2-1 today for Estelí.
Yeah, the bouncing act for the coaches, having to decide who they want to hold out and send into action in those U20 games and versus who they need to keep for this upper level matchup here tonight, and who could be effective in both of those games if possible. So I don't know if you've noticed here, Ben, but Managua seems to be turning up the heat a little bit in the last couple of minutes of this one.
Another free kick chance. Header sent toward the edge of the box. Quinto trying to keep it alive, and they say that just went over the touchline and out of play. Cristian Quinto, who set up the goal that equalized in the 69th minute. You look at the timing in the first leg, it was 64th minute for Marlon Lopez of Estelí, 69th minute for Gallego of Managua. It was Manuel Rosas tonight in the 49th minute to open our scoring. 2-1 now on aggregate. Estelí leads as they try to lock things down. 14th title for them. Ayertes, edge of the box, tries to chip it to himself, arguing for a penalty, but the referee says play on.
Early Mendez looking for the call on that one.
Game, though, starting to open up a bit. Managua knows they need a goal to send this to extra time, while Estelí, who were the best defensive team all season in Liga Primera, have a chance to win both the Apertura and the Clausura tournaments. If they can go another half hour and a few minutes on top of that without conceding.
Get another look there in front of the goal. Ayertes just goes down there at the corner of the box.
It looked like minimal contact, probably simulation of anything. We'll see if there was any contact from the defender Marel Alvarez.
Kind of up around the shoulder there, a little bit on the jersey, but incidental at best.
This Managua team that is not lost at home all season in the Clausura.
And these guys won't have too much of a break either, Ben. They'll get right back at it in July, so they'll have about 6, maybe 7 weeks off, and then right back at it for the Apertura.
And that is the current setup. Of course, everyone optimistic that things will still be able to continue. Is this ball sent in? Aertes, they say onside. Aertes into the box, nearly pushed off the ball, recollects, now fires, has it saved from a point-blank range. Still not clear though, as Quijano had a chance to chip it into the box, and it's finally sent out. Now Managua escapes danger for probably the third or fourth time tonight, nearly 2-0. As Aertes, not really sure what happened on that throw, James, somewhat of a breakdown as he was left all alone into the box. Another good save by Mendez.
Seemed to be a bit of communication there for Real Estelí, and a great chance there on goal, but that one ricocheted right off the chest of Early Mendez, and a great save there in goal for the Blue Lions.
It's now a few great opportunities for Aertes tonight, who was a first-half sub for the injured Taufik Guarch. And one sub remaining for the hosts, Managua, 2 left for Estelí. Just under a half hour to go. Champion to be crowned tonight. Estelí, who've really been the top club over the past couple decades, try to continue that run as Pablo Gallego had that ball caught up in the legs. Here's another look at Aertes charging it on goal.
Boy, I tell you, the athletic recovery there for the defenseman that time, Roberto Fuentes, just amazing. Got flipped over on his back there, but popped right up and right back on defense for his club.
And you see the captain, Fernandez, who was subbed out early in the half. I thought maybe he could be the source of some late heroics for Managua, but he'll have to watch from the touchline. It's funny though, James, you look at how Estelí were approaching this match, as Aertes this time well offside. There was a sense that to be successful, to come away with one tonight, they'd really need to limit free kick chances for Managua, because the Blue Lions, we've talked about it with how good they are offensively. It extends to their set pieces. They've been great from free kicks and corners this year. And instead, it's been Estelí who score from a free kick, have had a number of corners yielding close calls right in front of goal. And they've been able to essentially give Managua a taste of their own medicine.
Yeah, Estelí done a great job ball movement tonight. They've kept it on the Managua end of the pitch most of the evening, and just eliminated a lot of those one-off chances that you mentioned from Managua. They're just not there.
Cheap foul taken, and this produces a yellow. Harold Medina clipping Erik Mendoza's cleat. So Medina into the book, joins Henry Garcia. As well as Jorge Betancourt.
Another look at it here. Medina, just a little bit of a push in the back there, it appears, from the 18-year-old Nicaraguan.
So in the second leg of our championship, Estelí up in this match 1-0, up 2-1 on aggregate. Can Managua, the hosts, on the ball, find an equalizer? Free kick comes in. Pretty good ball and headed over the bar by Acevedo in defense. A really dangerous delivery that time, and now Managua looks to hurry, set up a corner.
They got to try to get this one done quickly. Get one more shot in there and try to get something past Denver Fox.
Looked like a stray ball was on the pitch. So now we're ready. This corner dealt with well by Estelí. And El Trendo Norte looks to set up a counter. Snuffed out by Cristian Quinto. Despite playing in a right-back position, he was partially responsible for the lone goal last Saturday for Managua. Here it's Carlos Felix, who did not even get into the match last Saturday, trying to play a factor tonight.
Quinto done a great job for Managua all season long, the 19-year-old. In his first year, transferred over from Real Madrid.
And just in time for the Clausura season. Ambitious attempt, immediately blocked out. Right now, though, Managua, playing on its home pitch, has about 25 minutes to find an equalizer, or else Estelí will be champions in the 2020 Clausura. Gallego, the goal scorer last Saturday, sends the ball toward Felix, but can't get it cleared on goal. Never really square with his shoulders, and it's a goal kick for Denver Fox in the Real Estelí goal.
Yeah, it's been tough for Managua all evening long when they are able to finally get in front of the goal, and Denver Fox down there just can't quite get a square shot, good opportunity.
Denver Fox, he's held up admirably well, the number 2 for Estelí, but Henry Maradiaga was suspended the previous 4 matches due to a red card and an argument with an official he had post-match a few weeks ago, and coaches have rewarded Fox. He's been left in there tonight. As it's Ayertis, edge of the box, back to Garcia. Garcia didn't get much on that shot as it was blocked, and then Pablo Gallego, just being safe, has to send it out for an Estelí throw.
Yeah, it's always a question. It doesn't really matter what sport you're in. When you have an injury situation or you have a player that gets suspended or is taken out of action for some reason, you have someone come in, they get hot, they stay hot. Do you pull that person out and go with the replacement when that other person is healed up, or when they come back from a suspension? It's always a tough decision for the coach, and they got to do what they think is best for the ball club.
So far, though, it's worked out for Holver Flores, as Denver Fox, who is the same age, by the way, as Flores, 22 years old. Fox, his 4 appearances, 2 wins, 2 draws, a couple of clean sheets as well. Quijano, can he get a cross in instead? Plays it back. There's Garcia. His shot is saved. Grabbed right at the corner of the post by Erik Mendoza, who continues to have himself a busy night. Just peppered on goal so far frequently throughout our opening 67 minutes.
Yeah, let's be honest, man. I mean, credit to Erik Mendoza for not even allowing any more than one in, because Real Estelí has had a number of chances in front of the net tonight.
Managua, though, will earn a corner. Gallego nailing the defender for Estelí. Can't get a good look from that angle. It is actually the goal scorer, Manuel Rosas, down right now.
Another nice look here. Gallego sets it up, fires away. It looks like it just glances off the back of the dome there for Real Estelí's Manuel Rosas.
Rosas looks to be okay, though, after scoring just his 2nd goal of the season on a free kick back in the 49th minute. Corner coming here. Estelí first to it. And it's Ayertis looking to lead the break for Garcia, but sends that out of play. Throw in back to Managua.
Once again, Real Estelí with a great job defending that corner kick from Managua. Nothing doing there.
And here comes our final sub of the night, Luis Gutierrez. Final hope for Emilio Alberto and Managua as he replaces Pedro Espinoza. So Gutierrez, who also came on in the second half last Saturday in the first leg, tries to make his impacts. And that's the last sub used by Managua, so all the chips on the table for Emilio Alberto.
Can they catch fire like they did last week, Ben, in that second half? Managua's got about 20 minutes or so to get that done.
A nice little run, though, by Quinto, but a clean tackle by Fabrizio Tavano to break that up. And now Estelí does have numbers, but again, a wayward ball looking for Garcia, who had all kinds of space had that been on target. A lot of close calls for Managua. It's the 5th finals in the 6 tournaments since Emilio Alberto took over midway through the 2017 Apertura season. Well, they won just one of those, the 2018 Apertura, having lost the previous 2 tournaments to Estelí, looking for 3 straight and a sweep of the 2019-20 season. Played in, it's Ayertes, edge of the box. Brandon Ayertes makes it 2-0. And Estelí in command as the 20-year-old gives El Tren del Norte a 2-goal advantage.
Brandon Ayertes, what a fantastic job. He came in as the substitute tonight for Coach Hover Flores, and he does another bit of damage there on Managua and the Blue Lions. We'll take another look at the goal here. A nice job getting one-on-one in open space there for Ayertes, and he just fired away right side of the net and put it in. There it is, Ayertes left foot. He was defended there that time by Alvarez, but they're able to poke it around and get it in there.
Yeah, just a little hesitation to get it on his left foot. And no chance for Erik Mendoza. You saw and you can hear the celebrations being given to Brandon Ayertes, who scores his team-leading 11th goal this season, combined from the Apertura in fall and the Clausura in spring. And you have to say, James, if there is anybody who was deserving of a goal based on how he had been robbed in the first half, it was Brandon Ayertes, and the 20-year-old scores a memorable goal to give Estelí a commanding 2-0 lead, 3-1 on aggregate in the championship match with now under 20 minutes to go.
Estelí in the driver's seat now, Ben. They've got to chew about 18, almost 19 more minutes off the clock here, and they will take that trophy back north, back to Estelí, Nicaragua. What a great job that time by Ayertes. Shows a lot of you young players who might be watching the broadcast here tonight. Persistence pays off. Ayertes attacking the goal in that first half. He kept at it. He did the same thing here in the second half, and it paid off.
Now you saw also the long look on the face of Emilio Alberto.
Yeah.
Not the performance he was hoping on the home pitch of the Blue Lions. They played so well, especially battling back to level things up at 1 in that first leg. But it's been all Estelí, I have to be honest, tonight. As it is Ayertes.
Yeah, they've simply dominated from the opening kick. Ayertes nearly got open on that in front of the goal there again, Ben.
Content, though, with his team now up 2 goals, playing it out. And a reset for Real Estelí, who still can make a couple subs. Here it's Fabrizio Tavano. And his first season with the team, just joined mid-year from Coras in the Mexican 3rd Division.
Real Estelí now just playing a game of keep away.
And for Estelí, who
they've earned the right to do so now.
You're right, James, and it's a team in Estelí who have, at least over the past few weeks since we've started our coverage of Liga Primera, really have struggled to come up with clear-cut chances in the run of play. It's been a lot of those wonder strikes, free kicks, but they have found some open space tonight, and part of that due to Harold Medina, the young 18-year-old who was key cog in that machine, moving the ball up the pitch, and he'll come out now in favor of Luis Acuna, the 31-year-old Argentine.
Well, Real Estelí just played so hard tonight. They've been aggressive when they needed to at just the right moments. They forced the issue. They've had great ball movement all night long, and
here you go.
just
Acuna
have played with so
box.
much confidence here this evening.
Acuna nearly makes it 3, but it's followed up and put in. And you can say it's all but over as Gutierrez and his teammate Marlon Lopez right there. Looked like Lopez got the follow-up off the initial shot coming from Luis Acuna. And it is all Estelí, 3-0 in the 75th minute, and Marlon Lopez has now scored in both legs as it's 4-1 Estelí on aggregate.
Another look at it here. What a great job. Back towards the middle. Lopez on the rebound, fires away with the left foot and puts it in the net. From the goal box, another view. An outstanding job there. Congratulations, Marlon Lopez. What a beautiful job for the Train of the North.
How special is that for Marlon Lopez? Just a quick reaction to knife it home after a good initial save by Erik Mendoza. But for Marlon Lopez, grew up in Managua, scoring against the Blue Lions in the first leg in the 64th minute, scores again in the 75th.
A couple weeks, they've been dominant. A lot of chances that they've had are not really conventional chances, but they've been able to take advantage of those. And here they are tonight, 3-0. And they have just gotten it done all the night long here, Ben.
You contrast the disappointment on the Managua bench with the inevitable excitement. Holver Flores, he's not wanting to give it away yet. You know he is fired up right now. Kind of amazing, no matter where you're watching from in the world. Hard to comprehend a 22-year-old being named head coach of a historic club like Estelí. He was named coach after his mentor, Sergio Rodriguez, was sacked at the end of the Apertura season and comes in. It was the end of the Apertura regular season, so he comes in right for the tournament, leads his team to a championship over Managua, and now is about to do the same thing in the 2020 Clausura. 4-1 on aggregate, 3-0 in this second leg.
Yeah, congratulations to Real Estelí. As you mentioned, all but over here. The last 14, 13 minutes or so will tick by. Pablo Gallego talking to the injured player that's down on the pitch there for Real Estelí. Sorry, I lost you there for a moment, Ben.
Gallego, he saw a yellow a moment ago. Some discussion as to whether he would maybe see a second yellow for that challenge. And it looks like Estelí will need another substitution. They do have one left. Acuna just coming on a moment ago for Medina. And we'll see Jon Mosquera, the 31-year-old Colombian, come on as the final sub for Holver Flores. Another look.
One more look at it here.
Yep, Acuna setting up Marlon Lopez.
Yeah, that one shocked Lopez. He wasn't expecting that. He was on the weak side, if you will, of that one, but just caught the rebound off of Erik Mendoza just right. The reaction time was right on time, and he put it in there.
And what's the old adage, James? You save your best for last. Well, Marlon Lopez,
yes.
1 goal in his first 26 appearances this season. And he scores goals in each of these two championship legs.
Yeah, he scored in the 64th minute in the semifinals, or excuse me, in the final last week, and comes up big again tonight.
And doing it against his former club in his hometown, no less, in the capital city of Nicaragua. As we play into the 80th minute. For as good as Estelí have been, though, you kind of figured, James, a team that has been as dominant as El Tren del Norte have been over the last couple of decades, you knew they would come up with their best stuff. It is, on the same token, though, a little surprising to see Managua so stymied tonight. They really have never put up much of a push. Really no clear-cut opportunities for Los Leones Azules tonight.
Yeah, granted, there are no fans in attendance tonight, and I'm sure that they're missing a little bit of that momentum and some of that that the crowd will provide you, get you pumped up while you're playing the game. But I thought they would put on a little bit better showing here at home tonight on their home pitch. But Real Estelí came in firing away from the get-go, and they have not let off the gas all night long.
Even though this will continue, though, a string of close calls and getting right to the precipice of victory, but just falling short for Managua. Still have to say, for a club that is as young as they are, still kind of amazing just to see the growth already. A club that's not even 15 years old yet and has only been in the top flight of Nicaraguan soccer for the last decade, but they do already have a championship to their name, and they've already now appeared this in their fourth straight final and their fifth final in the last 6 tournaments. Kind of a amazing out-of-nowhere run for Emilio Berto, and you would think Managua will be back in this type of position going forward and would have to be considered a favorite going into next season, along with Estelí, of course.
Yeah, Managua, tremendous success in their young existence overall. And if you think about what it takes just to get to this point here tonight, Ben, all the way through the Clausura tournament, all the way through the semis, and then into the 2 legs of the finals, just to get this point is quite an accomplishment. So Managua definitely nothing to hang their head about it at all tonight.
Free kick from Gallego. This takes a deflection into the box. Denver Fox, though, comes up with it. The keeper for Estelí. Man down for El Tren del Norte right outside the 6-yard box. As it was
Denver Fox being in some pain too.
Yeah, it was initially headed back near Manuel Alvarez, and Manuel Rosas, the man down along with Denver Fox, and they will call for the trainer as we play in the 83rd minute. See if we get another look after Gallego's initial free kick was parried away.
It's been a rough game tonight, Ben, and the training staff has been on the field quite a bit here this evening.
And with the most notable injury coming to Taufik Guarch, thought maybe that would cause some difficulty for Estelí. Guarch, the leading scorer for El Tren del Norte, was bloodied in the first half in a head-to-head collision that sent him out of the match after only a quarter hour. But you just never know, James, how substitutes will affect the game. And even though Guarch had been so good, it was his replacement, Brandon Ayertis, who really opened things up, had a couple great chances in the first half, ends up scoring the second goal in the 71st minute in the second half. 2 goals in a 4-minute span for Estelí to all but put this match away.
Yeah, you can't help but think that Hover Flores might have had his heart skip a beat there when Taufik Guarch went down early in the ball game with that head injury. But Brandon Ayertis came in and did a fine relief, attacking the goal all night long and eventually getting one to go.
Here's Garcia into the edge of the box, tries to center it, but just out of the reach of his intended target. I believe it was Luis Acuna, who can't bring it in. And Managua looking to set up the counter just to try to get some sort of consolation. Gallego, good ball. This one is poked in. And there is the consolation goal. It's Carlos Felix in the 84th minute, just able to toe poke it past Denver Fox. It's a long road ahead, though, for Managua, but they are on the board. with Felix and his 17th goal of the season.
Yeah, let's get another look at it here. Nice job. You'll see Pablo Gallego charging down the field. He's going to eventually move it back towards the middle, and right there waiting on it, doing a great job attacking the goal that time, number 25, Carlos Felix.
Felix joining his teammate now, Pablo Gallego, who set him up with across those two 17 goals this season. And for Felix, he has done it now. This is just his 30th game combined this year. So pretty impressive for a player who just joined the club this season, transferring from crosstown rival Juventus Managua, one of several teams in the area of the nation's capital. He's certainly had his presence felt this season, scoring tonight, but you just wonder, is it too little too late? Most likely the answer to that, James, is yes, but at least a goal coming for Managua.
Always nice to get one whenever you can and however you can, but unfortunately for the Blue Lions tonight, this Real Estelí team just too much to handle.
So we saw Yon Mosquera. He was ready to come in earlier, kept him on the touchline, and now he does enter the match for Jorge Betancourt. That is the final sub for Jorge Flores, coming in the 86th minute, but our championship, even with that goal from Felix, still seems to be essentially in the hands of Real Estelí. Managua, if they get a goal here in the next couple minutes, might cause a little consternation on the Estelí side, but Tren del Norte equally is likely to pick up a fourth. As this comes to the edge of the box, Acuna was the intended target, but it is intercepted before it can get to the 31-year-old midfielder.
Managua now, they're going to have to move it up the pitch in a hurry now and get another shot on goal here because we got about 3.5 minutes left, Ben.
All the scoring in the second half, it was Manuel Rosas, a blistering free kick in the 49th minute, then that's 2 goals in 4 minutes. Ayertis in the 71st for Estelí, followed up by Marlon Lopez in the 75th minute. We get the goal in the 84th for Carlos Felix. Likely to see a few minutes of stoppage time as well, with all the subs now being used. Here's another look. It was Felix who set up the counter. That's a brilliant ball, James, when you look at it in retrospect.
Beautiful job there. Nice job of Gallego seeing the field as well. Great job there on the edge for Pablo Gallego.
I was going to say, sometimes it's more than just having the goal-scoring touch. You can also set up your teammates as well. This is Erik Mendoza. Tries to send a ball into the box, but it's just chested away by Mosquera. And after maybe a couple minutes where Estelí let up a bit, they seem to have control once again.
They can just about print the T-shirts up in Estelí, Ben.
It will be a somewhat muted celebration, as you would imagine, with no fans in the stands tonight. Still, though, a few minutes left to seek out for Estelí. There will not be a trophy ceremony. They'll just give the trophy to the captain.
Head to the showers.
In this case, Manuel Rosas, who will have scored the opener tonight. As we sit 3-1 Estelí, 4-2 on aggregate. And in a second leg where probably the biggest storyline coming in was our realization, James, that the away goal potential tiebreaker was not going to be in effect. Well, Estelí has made sure that would not matter regardless, as they have blown things open in the second half. And now it's Garcia released into the box. He shoots on goal, but this shot blocked away by Mendez. Had a couple of teammates in pretty open areas right in the middle, but elects to shoot for goal himself and is saved once again by Mendez.
Yeah, great job once again there, and a goal for early Mendez, not letting anything else get through. And now Real Estelí now just minutes away from the championship.
I don't have the official stats, James, but if you had to eyeball it, you'd think early Mendez probably responsible for, 9-10 saves maybe? I mean, he has been earning his keep tonight, to say the least. And you could argue Estelí could easily have 5 goals or more the way they have attacked consistently all night tonight.
Yeah, Early Mendez has to be, if there was an MVP for Managua tonight, it would be Early Mendez, because he's done a fantastic job in goal tonight for the Blue Lions. But Real Estelí, I mean, let's face it, they have just gotten it done all tournament long. And if you had to pick an MVP, Ben, for Real Estelí throughout the Clausura tournament, who would you say it would be?
If you're looking at Estelí as a whole, what's, I think, amazing to me, James, is that it hasn't been any one player. They have really spread the goals out throughout the Clausura tournament as this ball is headed away. But at least in the final, you'd have to say Marlon Lopez, I mean, he, to me, was somebody who opened the scoring, completely changed the dynamic of the final, and scores what is likely the clinching goal, just because had he not scored that third, James, we'd be sweating out these last 4 minutes in anticipation of a potential Managua equalizer if it was still just 2-1. As weird as that is to say in retrospect, but it's always the players who come up when the time is right and deliver when they get that maybe half inch of separation. And you can say Marlon Lopez has executed that line of thinking to perfection in this tournament and in the final in particular.
The cream always seems to rise to the top, especially that's the case for Real Estelí. And you think back to the semis with Oscar Acevedo stepping up and getting that goal and continuing their march into this championship round. As you mentioned, Real Estelí, just so many contributors, it's really hard to really single out one MVP.
We could argue, too, a guy like Manuel Rosas, the 36-year-old, anchoring a defense that has been the best in the country all season. And then just, and not only that, with shutting down opposing attacks basically all year and all tournament as well. And that has continued tonight against Managua. But the contributions on the offensive end, where you have a pair of defenders responsible for goals, 2 of the 4 scored, with Rosas delivering. You go back to Acevedo scoring the lone goal in the semifinal round against Dirion Hen.
And how about the rock-solid Denver Fox? I mean, he's been outstanding coming in relief of Henry Maradiaga, suspended for Real Estelí. So Denver Fox, definitely an impact player here in this tournament for the Train of the North.
A couple minutes left in our stoppage time. Luis Acuna, he wants his chance at goal and forces another save out of Erik Mendoza. You can just tell, though, the wind taken out of the sails of the Blue Lions, especially after that second goal when Brandon Aertes was left all alone and able to finish. Since then, even though Managua did get a consolation goal in the 84th, just have not looked the same. On a hot and humid night in the nation's capital. Obviously, it'll be a disappointing end of the year for Managua, but still, though, even though Estelí has won the last 3 championships, Managua, they've been a part of each of the last 4, and even with just 1 title to show for it, that still does mean a lot in a country where you have clubs like Dirion Hen, who have so much history. Obviously, we've seen Estelí, others like for Managua rival Walter Ferretti, who have been very solid.
Such talent down in Nicaragua. You mentioned Walter Ferretti and the cacique of Dirion Hen. A lot of these teams will be back in this championship tournament next season, and looking forward to seeing more of these teams play, because the talent level and the level of soccer and level of competition is just outstanding.
It will be Estelí, though, who end up victorious, and they will go through to the CONCACAF League round of 16, while Managua, they'll have to go through 1 qualifying round. Those will be the 2 who go in. Estelí by virtue of winning both Apertura and Clausura, and Managua by winning the overall combined table this season. So still somewhat of a consolation for Managua. As we're into our final moments of stoppage time, 3-1 Estelí, all goals coming in the second half, and 4-2 on aggregate. As Pablo Gallego There's a lot of folks watching in his hometown of Huesca in Spain tonight. Had an assist, tries to set up another, but it's shuttled just wide of the bar. A deflection taken by an Estelí player, and so it looks like Managua will get one final corner chance before the whistle blows.
One more shot here for the Blue Lions.
Denver Fox collects. There is the whistle, and it is in the books. Estelí sweeps the 2019-20 season as they are champions of both the Apertura and the Clausura seasons, the 14th title in team history, as they win 3-1 tonight and 4-2 on aggregate over Managua.
Congratulations to Hover Flores and all the players on the Real Estelí. The Train of the North dominant throughout the playoffs, and they did a great job here tonight. They attacked the goal all night long. They were relentless. They never let up, and persistence pays off. They walk away with the championship here tonight. What a great game.
The goals, you look at the first leg, it was all in the second half of that initial leg. When Marlon Lopez scored in the 64th minute last Saturday, it was 1-1 heading into tonight, but goals for Estelí from Manuel Rosas in the 49th minute, Brandon Ayertis in the 71st, and followed up by Marlon Lopez again in the 75th minute. As the members of El Tren del Norte celebrate now. Again, it's a muted celebration. You saw Brandon Ayertis, he and Manuel Rosas, two of the goal scorers tonight, reflecting on this win. And so even though no fans, no celebration, still though, you see that trophy, and it means a lot for the members of El Tren del Norte. And Hover Flores, the first-year manager who will conclude his first chance with his first run, really, with both an Apertura and a Clausura tournament title. Again, just your final thoughts on what was a very fun back-and-forth two-legged tie, but a tie that saw Estelí really flex its muscles, particularly in this second leg tonight.
Well, it was interesting coming into the ball game, as you mentioned, Ben, earlier, that they were not going to count the one-goal road goal advantage tonight, and it was just going to be a straight-up game. And Real Estelí came out, and we really never even thought about that because they dominated this one from start to finish. And congratulations to the players and head coach Hover Flores in his first year. Just a dominant performance here tonight.
Again, it is Estelí victorious 3-1 tonight, 4-2 on aggregate. And we would be remiss if we did not mention just how fortunate we felt. You know, I speak for you as well, James, getting to cover these matches. It's been a great opportunity for us over the past month or so, and a lot of thanks has to be given to Liga Primera as a whole and for the teams for allowing us to be a part of this while the majority of the world is on pause, especially in the sports world. The Liga Primera, they have continued, and the only league that has been able to crown a champion as part of its 2020 spring season. So thanks to everybody with Liga Primera, as well as our partners with Spalk, for making all these broadcasts possible. And it's certainly been a lot of fun calling them with you as well, James.
I've had a great time, Ben. Let me tell you, this past month or so of doing these games with you has been outstanding. It was great to meet you. I look forward to doing some more games with you in the future. And this was a great tournament. Congratulations again to Real Estelí. And thanks as well to Liga Primera for having us, as well as Spalk and Ben and all of our guys and involvement with the production here tonight. It was a pleasure. It was an outstanding job. We're in a time right now where a lot of people in our profession are not able to work, unfortunately, and it's a livelihood for a lot of them. And as you mentioned, I feel blessed to just be able to do a game here tonight. So thanks again. It was my pleasure.
Absolutely. And we should be seeing the, again, muted trophy ceremony momentarily, so we'll stick around for this as we're expecting them to award the trophy to the first-year manager, Hover Flores, and the captain in this case, Manuel Rosas. Some of those folks, though, Alan Chamorro, working closely with Real Estelí and Liga Primera, has been a great source as we've tried to learn as much as we can about the league, as well as everybody with Spalk, with Ben Reynolds, as well as David Lang, being such a great help for all of us, as well as Tom Reed over the past month or so. So expecting to see the trophy ceremony coming momentarily. And as for now, looks like that will be all from the Estadio Olímpico de Managua. So, again, it is Estelí who are victorious, and we will sign off.
Estamos cuidando mucho la salud de los jugadores que se exponen en el terreno de juego. Más de 400 jugadores por división. Ninguno ha sido contagiado
Liga Primera,
Luis
Rosas, they'll get ready to give trophy as part of this Clausura tournament, where El Tren del Norte, 14th title, second all-time behind
cosa que otras ligas no pudieron hacer. Nosotros siempre velando y con la regulación del Ministerio de Salud, fue realmente el que nos dio la pauta para decir, ok, sigamos porque en este país, en este momento, podemos seguir la liga.
Nicaragua incredibly fortunate not to have
el partido estrella, es
as many cases as other countries. It's a big reason why they were
tanto de juvenil como de
still
mayor,
able to play.
Los equipos son Managua.
Of course, there's a lot of factors that go into it, from
ahora
transportation
pues estamos tomando
to sanitation, keeping players
sanitarias completas.
El día de hoy, together and safe.
Empezamos ya con
the temperature checks. They've also limited
the
number of personnel who would be allowed into the venues for all of these matches. And it's resulted really in a successful last couple of months. They allowed players, if they didn't feel comfortable, allowed them to go home. A couple of players did that, but for the most part, it has been a relatively full squad for all the teams competing in the 2020 Clausura. And like you were saying, James, in a time where so much is unknown by so many, it has been good to at least have this diversion, being able to watch soccer on the pitch. So that kind of gives you a background to the video they're showing now. They'll be awarding the trophy in just a moment. Again, to the manager, Hover Flores, and the captain, Manuel Rosas. But we can say so long for now. Again, our final tonight, it's Real Estelí 3 and Managua 1 with Estelí.
Donde se tienen que ubicar, cuidando siempre las medidas sanitarias, lo vuelvo a repetir. Como liga hemos hecho un esfuerzo mayúsculo en poder transmitir casi todos los partidos. A partir de la jornada 16, el 100% de los partidos prácticamente fue cubierto. Este va a ser obviamente el caso, va a estar en Televisión Nacional, va a estar en nuestras plataformas de YouTube y ahí podrán verlo. El mundo va a cambiar, ¿no? Las medidas sanitarias van a cambiar en todo el mundo y el deporte es uno que va a cambiar totalmente. Entonces ya estamos aprendiendo cómo tenemos que actuar y marcarnos la pauta, ¿no? Ahorita hay ligas que nos preguntan qué medidas sanitarias estamos teniendo, si les podemos compartir nuestros protocolos. Estamos seguros que este caso es un caso de éxito, es un caso que se ha podido realizar el torneo y no hay contagios, ¿no? Entonces terminamos como debe ser. Es un esfuerzo muy fuerte y ahora va a ser el actuar probablemente de todos los
Para que te salgas porque si no, voy a tener que andar siguiendo. Luis Rosa, decirle que vas a sonar. Don Luis.